What were you thinking, Cadet? Bellowed Captain Harris, his eyes drilling into hers. The young girl, trembling slightly, knew she had made a mistake. Earlier that day, she had disobeyed a direct order during training, leading to a near miss with the enemy. She had been caught up with excitement of the morning, and her instincts took over. She also knew the gravity of her actions. "I'm sorry, sir," she replied, her voice barely above a murmur. "Sorry isn't good enough, Cadet," he thundered, his voice echoing through the cold steel walls of the debriefing room. "You could have gotten yourself, or worse, your teammates killed." The room was stark. The only sounds a low hum of the ship's engines and the rapid tapping of her boots against the floor. The tension was palatable, a silent drum roll building to the crescendo of his next words. Captain Harris took a deep breath, his face a mask of disappointment. "Do you understand why you're here, Cadet?" "Yes, sir," she nodded, her voice a tad steadier. He leaned in, his gaze unwavering. "Good, because in this field, when lives are on the line, understanding is everything. You must learn to follow orders without question, without hesitation." The girl swallowed hard, her mind racing with the implications of what he was saying. She knew he wasn't just talking about the immediate consequences of her actions, but the broader implications of discipline and obedience in their line of duty. "But, sir, There's no buts in combat, Cadet," he interrupted sharply. "Only life and death. You will learn to trust your training and your commanding officer implicitly." The silence was followed, as heavy as the weight of her guilt. Captain Harris's words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the reality she had signed up for. The girl took a moment to absorb his words, her eyes cast down on the floor. "Do you understand?" he prompted, his tone softer, but no less demanding. "Yes, sir," she murmured, feeling the gravity of the situation settle upon her shoulders like a heavy burden. The captain's gaze softened a fraction, recognizing the earnest in her voice. He knew she was young and had much to learn, but he also knew that she had potential to be one of the best. If she could have just grasped the lesson he was trying to teach her now. "Good," he said, his voice firm but not unkind. "Now, let's begin again." The girl looked up, her eyes meeting his with a newfound resolve. She knew that this was the moment forward, that she would have to earn his trust and trust her commands. It was a lesson that she would not soon forget. "I understand, sir," she said, her voice firm and clear. "I'll do better." Captain Harris nodded, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "See that you do, Cadet. Now, let's break down the mission. Tell me, what did you do wrong?" The girl took a deep breath and began recounting the events of the day, her voice steady as she described her disobedience. She had gone off course during a drill, ignoring her team's warnings to stay in formation. The enemy had almost spotted them, and it was only thanks to a stroke of luck that they managed to retreat without being detected. "And why," Captain Harris prodded, "did you choose to ignore your orders?" The girl paused, thinking back to the rush of adrenaline and the desire to prove herself. "I wanted to be a hero, sir, and I took the opportunity." The captain's expressions grew serious again. "Being a hero is not about taking unnecessary risks, Cadet. It's about making the right decision under pressure and ensuring that everyone comes home alive. Your actions today were reckless and they were selfish." His words stung, but she knew he was right. The girl felt the weight of her mistake, the understanding that she not only endangered herself, but also the ones who were counting on her. "From now on," Captain Contreras continued, You will follow orders to the letter. No more trying to be a hero. Your job is to be part of the team, to trust in the plan and in each other. Can you do that for me?" "Yes, sir," she said, nodding firmly. He leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself. You'll be placed on probation status for the next mission. Prove to me and to your team that you've learned from this mistake. And if you do, perhaps we can move you forward." The girl felt a glimmer of hope. She knew that she had a lot of work ahead of her, but she was determined to make things right. "Thank you, sir," she said, standing a little straighter. "Dismiss, cadet," Captain Harris said, his voice no longer thundering, but still commanding. "Don't let me down again." As she turned to leave, she felt a gaze on her back, a mix of warning and expectation. She walked out of that room, her boots now tapping with determination rather than fear. It was time to prove to herself, not just to Captain Harris, but to her entire unit. The days that followed were a blur of intense training and soul-searching. She pushed herself harder than ever, determined to become the soldier he believed she could be. Her fellow cadets watched her in a mix of admiration and weariness, knowing that she had been given a second chance. On the eve of the next mission, she lay down on her bunk, her heart racing. She had studied the plan until she knew it by heart, and she had practiced her maneuvers until they were second nature. She knew that tomorrow would be the real test for her growth. The mission was critical, and Captain Harris had made it clear that there would be no room for error. As she drifted to sleep, she made a silent promise to herself and to her comrades. She would not let them down. In the debriefing room afterwards, Captain Harris's gaze fell upon her, his expression unreadable. "You did well, cadet," he said, his voice measured and calm. "Your teamwork was commendable." The praise was a balm to her soul, and she knew there was more to come. "Thank you, sir," she replied, her voice steady and strong. "I won't let you down again." "See that you don't," he said, a hint of a smile playing at his lips. "You're a natural leader, but you must remember that you're a part of a team. Your instincts are valuable, but so is discipline. Balance the two, and you will be unstoppable." The girl nodded, taking his words to heart. She knew that she had grown from this experience, and she had learned the true meaning of being a soldier. Days turned into weeks, and the girl's skills continued to improve. She had become a cornerstone of her unit, earning the respect of her peers and trust of her superiors. Captain Harris watched her progress with a mix of pride and caution, knowing that she's still young and had much more to learn. One day, as the ship's computer beeped with an incoming message, the girl felt a familiar knot of anxiety and form in her stomach. It was a mission debriefing, and she knew that this would be her chance to show Captain Harris that she truly internalized the lesson he taught her. The room was hushed as the captain outlined their objective. It was a high-stakes operation, one that required the utmost precision and teamwork. She felt the weight of the responsibility settle on her shoulders once again. The mission was a success, thanks in no small part to the girl's leadership and quick thinking. She made all the right calls under pressure, ensuring her team's safety while completing the objective. As they touched down safely on the ship, Captain Harris pulled her aside. "You've come a long way, cadet," he said, his voice filled with pride. "Today, you've earned more than just my respect. You've earned the respect of your comrades." The girl felt the warmth in his praise, and she knew this was only the beginning. There were still more battles to fight, more lessons to learn, but she was ready. She had found her place in the world of steel and strategy, and she would not let it go without a fight. The story doesn't end here. It's a tale of growth, of a young girl becoming a woman, a leader, a warrior. With each mission, she would face new challenges, forge deeper bonds with her comrades, and come in understanding the true cost of war. But for now, she had proven her worth, and she knew she had a future in service, a future filled with honor, danger, and the endless pursuit of becoming the best she could be.